Missouri's Attorney General is also speaking out, blasting the DOJ directive as a, quote, unconstitutional expansion of federal power. And he joins me now with more. Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmitt, thank you so much for joining me. And you're so right. This seems like just too much authority stepping in. This is what you would think law enforcement or the police department would be for if there was problems. Of course, we don't want school board members to be threatened or attacked, but to have the FBI step in on this and then have parents be labeled as domestic terrorists, I find that to be very chilling.
It's outrageous, really, and unprecedented. And they know exactly what they're doing. This is intended to have a chilling effect. It's meant to muzzle parents who are doing nothing more than showing up to their school board meetings, which, by the way, they pay for those school districts with their tax dollars. They've elected these school board members. And they're right to be outraged about critical race theory, teaching our kids to despise America, and also the forced masking of 5-year-olds. That's why people are showing up. They want their country back. And so they're showing up, and they ought to keep showing up. But we fired back the next day after this letter came out from the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, and said, look, you're wrong on a few fronts. One is, as I mentioned, they have every right to show up to these meetings, and you're attempting to chill speech here. That's what this is really about. Secondly, there's no federal jurisdiction here. There's no nexus between, interstate commerce, which would give the federal government some authority to look at this. There isn't. But yet they're trying to weaponize the Department of Justice and the FBI to start following, I guess, parents around who show up to these meetings. It's ridiculous. Another point that's worth making here is literally the day before this, Joe Biden was there defending someone harassing a United States senator in a bathroom stall by saying that's, quote, part of the process, right? And then the next day they turn around and try to keep parents from showing up. We know what this is. There is a bubbling up that's happening right now all across this country. In our office, we've been suing against mask mandates for cities, counties, and school districts, and I see it. I talk to these parents. They've had enough, and they're speaking out, and the left doesn't like that, and now they're trying to use the federal government to chill that speech.
Yeah, you brought up Arizona Senator Kyrsten Sinema, who's somewhat of a moderate, trying to represent a red state, if you will, and it wasn't just a bathroom thing. They continue to harass her, and it's been crickets from Biden and from some of the other Democrats, high-profile ones. They've had nothing to say about it, and so it is really terrible. But circling back to the parents in the school board meetings, so you sent a letter to Garland. Have they responded? And so you listed some of the things that you just mentioned to us.
They haven't, because there is no response that they can have, because, this is all about power and control. Just like the mask mandates aren't about science and not about facts, right? This is all about power and control. And they've been able to get away with this stuff, but now the veil has completely come down. Parents, during COVID became much more aware of some of the things potentially that some of these schools were teaching, like critical race theory. They've become much more aware now of the harmful effects that masks can have, the forced masking of kids, social, psychological, emotional problems. It makes it more difficult to learn. You balance that with kids not really being at any serious risk of transmitting or contracting or getting seriously ill from COVID. So parents are the ones that should be balancing these things, right? They're tired of these mandates that are coming down from the left, and they're showing up and they're speaking out. And so what's the response from the Attorney General of the United States? To weaponize the Department of Justice and the FBI. We ought to be very concerned about this, and that's why, I'm going to keep fighting back.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's so alarming, and we're thankful for people like you who will push back against the DOJ and Team Biden. That being